What is up, people? Fire here from AwesomeDudes.com, and before you start with this video, just quickly, I wanted to tell you that you can go on my website here, AwesomeDudes.com, and then you can go under download free assets, and there you can download free assets. Now, these are commercial free assets. They are not assets for this tutorial. The assets for this tutorial, this dark cave, you can find, link is in the description below, so you can get them from that link. But these are other commercial free assets that you can use to develop your own games. And you have 3D assets, 2D assets, backgrounds, and whatnot. And I keep adding new and new stuff. So you should definitely check this out. And yeah, enjoy the video. Now that we have added the backgrounds and the grounds in our game, let us create the player and move him, and then we're going to create his animations. So in order to create our player, we are going to go in our sprites, and here is our player. If I double tap on him, this is our player. So he is walking and talking and sitting. So what we need to do is we need to do the same thing as we did with our items. So we need to select the player and go in the inspector panel and change the sprite mode from single to multiple, hit apply, and go in the sprite editor. And these are going to be the player's animation. So this is every frame. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 frames. So I'm going to click here on slice and slice every frame. This one is going to be our idle, and that's the most important one. So I'm simply going to name it idle, hit enter. For the other ones, it's not important how they are named because, well, we will deal with them later on. So now I'm simply gonna open our player like this, and I am gonna position him right here. We don't see the player because he is not on the sorting layer that we want him to be. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna click on the default, and I've added a couple of more sorting layers. So in the previous video, we added the background, door, and ground. I've added collectibles, enemy, player, and UI. And you're simply gonna click on add sorting layer, and then from the ground, you are gonna add collectibles, and then enemy, and then player, and then UI. And you simply click on the plus button here to add a new sorting layer. If you want to remove it, then click the minus button. And now I'm gonna select the player and add him on the player sorting layer, which will make him visible right here in our scene. I am also gonna, rename the player in the scene from idle to player. And if we run the game now, nothing is gonna happen. We are not simulating physics. We are not doing anything. Well, in order for us to simulate physics, we need to add a rigid body on our player. And we do that by going here in the inspector panel after we selected the player in the hierarchy. And then we can click on add component, and we're gonna search here for the rigid body 2D. This is really important. I see a lot of people on my YouTube channel, my students, making this mistake. So don't add the rigid body. You need to add rigid body 2D if you are working on a 2D game like we are at the moment. Rigid body only is for 3D games. So you're gonna add a rigid body 2D, and now our player has physics on him. I can position him here, and if I run the game, we are gonna see that our player is gonna fall down. Why? Well, because physics is acting upon him, dragging him down and whatnot. And yeah, we are gonna select our player and set the gravity scale to be 3 instead of 1. And the rest we are gonna leave it as it is, but we are gonna check or go here these constraints, and we're gonna check freeze the Z rotation, or otherwise our player will start to rotate and fall down. We don't want that. And again, if I run the game, we're gonna see our player falling down, but this time much quicker because we set the gravity scale to 3. Well, how can we prevent our player from falling down? Well, for that, we need to add a collider on our player. So I'm gonna select the player, and I'm gonna go under add component, and I'm gonna filter for box, and we are gonna add the box collider, again 2D. So don't add box collider because this is for 3D. You need to add box collider 2D. So it needs to be box collider 2D. And I'm gonna add it to our player, and now you see the box that is circled or that is around our player. This is the box collider that's on our player. I am gonna resize a little bit because this collider will determine, or it will detect when two game objects touch each other. Now, when we collide with the skeleton, we want to kill the player, but notice where the collider is. It's right here. Notice how far away it is from the player. We don't want when we touch the skeleton here that our player dies. So for that, go in the inspector panel after you have selected the player in the hierarchy. And for the box collider, for the size X on the box collider, I'm gonna resize it just a little bit. Something like this will work. So let's say 0.79, or we can even leave it at 0.8 like this. And we are good to go. We can put it at 2.26 for the y-axis, and this is it. So this is gonna be our collider for the player. Even if we run the game now, our player is gonna fall down because, hey, he has a collider, but I said that the collider is gonna make him stop from falling down. Well, that's true, but only if he lands on another collider, and our ground does not have any colliders on it. So I'm gonna select all 4 or 6, six grounds that we added. And I'm gonna go under add component, and I'm gonna add a box collider to every one of our grounds. And you can see now these green lines around our grounds are those colliders. So if I were to run the game now, our player is gonna land. He is landing and he is standing because we added a rigid body and a collider on our player, and everything is working now. So this was it for this video. We added our player in the scene, that added the rigid body and the colliders. Next, what we need to do is we need to make our player move. And we're gonna start doing that from the next video. So I will see you then, guys. Take care.